Hey friends, what's up? Welcome back to another furniture makeover. My name is Monica, and in today's video, I'm going to show you this nightstand slash side table makeover. These tables have already sold, so if you've been looking at furniture flipping videos to begin making some extra money, this flip right here is guaranteed to make you several $100s depending on your location. For me, this was a $400 money maker, but I know that in different markets, this can be a $600 paycheck. So if you're interested in getting into furniture refinishing or simply want to do this in your own home, just keep watching. So let's go ahead and get started by cleaning our project. I cleaned both tables with crud cutter mainly to remove any grime and dust because they have been stored for a while. Feel free to use any degreaser, but if you do want to use crud cutter, I will leave a link to it in the description box below along with all the other products I use for this makeover. As a friendly reminder, my channel does thrive on likes, comments, and shares, so I kindly ask that you show my channel some love, please, and thank you. Once I cleaned both pieces, I was so excited to start sanding that I completely forgot to remove the hardware. My plan for these tables is to sand the tops and the bases, so I began the process using my orbital sander in 120 grit sandpaper. Once I removed the entire finish, I repeated the process with 180 and 220 grit sandpaper. I know it seems a bit repetitive, but if you skip this process, the wood will likely be patchy when you stain it, and you will see pigtail scratches from your sander. I was trying to figure out the most efficient way to sand the bases because they have a few curved edges. So I flipped the tables on their back and noticed that they can actually be unscrewed. And that's what you see me doing here. I always get a little nervous taking furniture apart, but these bases are pretty simple and I know I can put them back together if I label them. This base was pretty snug and it wasn't coming out as easy as I thought it would, so I was pretty confused and I thought maybe I wasn't seeing other screws that were holding it to the rest of the piece, but after a little push and pull, it came off in one piece. The process for sanding the bases was a little different than sanding the tops. For the flat surfaces, I sanded using my orbital sander, but for the curved edges, I did a combination of sanding by hand and using a detail sander with attachments. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there is a trend to refinish furniture in dark tones. I'm talking deep stains, espresso tones, even black finishes. For years, it was all about the light and airy looks, which I personally love, but now people want warmth, moody, and that rich high-end vibe. And interestingly enough, I have noticed that more men have been buying my pieces lately than ever before, and I think there's just something about those dark finishes that feel bolder, masculine, and timeless. So if you're planning your next project, don't shy away from dark finishes. It might surprise you how many people actually love it. Once I was done sanding and scuff sanding, I started the process of covering the freshly sanded wood to protect it from any overspray. I find that using this purple tape instead of the regular blue painter's tape is a lot more gentle on the wood, like it won't splinter it, and when you remove it, it won't leave a sticky residue. I decided to remove the doors because I want to keep the color from the hinges the same. They actually match the color of pulls I will be using for this makeover. Don't forget to label your doors and hinges so you can put them back in the same place. Now, I am changing the placement of my pulls for the drawers, so I have to fill in the old holes, and I will be using this wood filler. I typically use Bundo, but I wasn't able to find it at Lowe's, so I ordered this one from Amazon, which turned out pretty good. It's also a 2-part filler and it dries pretty fast, so make sure to only mix what you will be using to avoid wasting too much product. Once it was mixed, I used a tongue depressor to push the product inside the holes. I let it sit for about 15 minutes and then I sanded any leftover residue. The drawers are going to have a single pull, so I measure the center and I use my drill to make a new hole. And before moving on, I tested it out to make sure it was perfectly centered. So I did not mention this in the beginning of the video, but the finish on these tables was failing miserably. It was flaking off, so when I scuff sanded it, it exposed the raw wood in many areas, creating an uneven texture throughout the piece. Now, I know how some of these paints are marketed to be sold as all-in-one type of paint, but any experienced refinisher or painter will tell you that the best practice is to always prime. And so that is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm using an oil-based primer, and this is good for two things. One is adhesion, and two, it's gonna keep the wood from bleeding through. As always, we are sanding between coats to achieve the best factory finish possible. Here I am using a fine grit sanding block, but for any curved edges, I like to use a flexible foam sanding pad. I loaded up my pneumatic sprayer with paint and a splash of water to lower the viscosity. You don't want your paint to be too thick, otherwise it will not flow smoothly through the nozzle and it will create texture as it lands on the surface. Like I mentioned earlier, dark furniture is having a moment, and honestly, I'm here for it. So I am using Coal Black by Fusion Mineral Paint to make over these nightstands. Okay, so I did 2 full coats of paint, which thankfully the temperature was warm, so both coats dried pretty fast. Typically, this is the part where I start working on staining the tops and wait till the end to top coat everything at once. But when I seal dark colors, I like to add a splash of paint in my top coat to avoid a white haze over the dark paint. So instead, I'm sealing the black paint now so I don't get this tinted top coat on the stain areas at the end. I know that's a little confusing, but I hope my video shows what I'm trying to tell you here. So I ran into a small issue when I started working on the tops and the bases. The stain took differently on the tops and one of the bases. This is very typical of vintage pieces, but thankfully there is a solution called toner. First, I stained all the wood areas with a base stain in the tone light walnut. The next day, once everything dried, I took this toner by Mohawk and lightly sprayed each piece until it reached the desired tone. I did the same process with the bases, and finally, after everything dried, I top coated those areas with poly. So let me show you this type of screw that I have been using for my pulls. As you can see, these have some grooves to help you clip them in case they are too long for the width of the drawer, or in this case, the door. I just took some pliers and cut at the length that I needed for the doors. The pulls that I bought do come with two sizes, but one of them is too short and the other one is ridiculously long. So these definitely come in handy for that type of situation. If you've made it to the end, let me give you a quick reminder of what these tables look like before. Here is how they turned out. I am obsessed with the depth and warmth of this finish. If you've been thinking about trying this dark furniture trend, take this as your sign and just go for it. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment if you love the dark tones too, and subscribe for more furniture flips and refinishing tips. I will see you guys next week for another furniture flip. Bye-bye.